Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today is Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. The winter season brings many challenges, and it's always good to pay close attention to the people who know what to do and want to prevent tragedy. Barbie has that report.
With the arrival of colder weather and the fast approaching holiday season, the Union County Board of Chosen Freeholders reminds the residents to protect themselves, their families, and their guests by following basic fire safety guidelines. According to the freeholder chair, Betty Jane Kowalski, during this time of the year, there tends to be a greater use of candles, open fires, and other sources of fire. Residents should take a note of potential fire hazards in their homes. Basic fire safety tips for residents to follow include the fact that carbon monoxide poisoning can also result when household cooking stoves, grills, and other open flame devices are used for indoor heating. Holiday decorations with electrical components should be examined for frayed wiring or insufficient wire covering that could allow for the sparks or short-circuit fires, keeping anything that can burn at least 3 feet away from the fireplaces, space heaters, radiators, and wood stoves. Store any canned cooking sprays away from the stove, especially during the cooking and baking, and test all the smoke alarms and replace the batteries with fresh ones.
Our next story might be very important for many of you, so once again, pay close attention. This could make you happy. Colin has the details.
Morris County will soon be starting their schools later at 8:30, giving their students more time to sleep. The decision took place in the Chatham High School after acknowledging California, the first state to prohibit schools from starting before 8:30. But Governor Phil Murphy has decided to start an experimental program to select 5 schools in New Jersey, but none of those schools have been chosen yet. Michael LaSousa, the superintendent of Chatham, says, "For a number of years now, we have known that our students at the high school level are not sleeping enough. We know that we are starting our high schoolers in particular too early in the morning." He is also hoping to change the school starting September 2021. Many schools want to start school later to reduce the risk of depression, being overweight, car crashes, or other problems based off a lack of sleep. But new problems might arise, like teacher schedules, transportation plans, and extracurricular activities.
Now it's time for announcements. The Gay Straight Alliance will be meeting tonight at 6 p.m. There will be a guest speaker and former Roselle Park graduate in attendance. All are welcome and confidentiality is a must. There will be a dance club meeting today at 3 p.m. in the auditorium. Come dressed to dance. On November 21st, there will be an anime club meeting on room 105 after school. Tabletop Games Club will meet in the library after school on Wednesdays. Come check out a wide variety of board and card games. See Miss Amoroso or Miss Lemke for the details. Art Club and National Art Honor Society will be meeting Fridays after school in room 102 during the school year. We are working on projects and sometimes exploring new media. Join us. There's an emergency blood shortage right now in our area. You can help make sure that ill patients receive the blood they need. Come to the RPHS blood drive next Wednesday, November 20th from 9 to 3 in the high school gym. You must be at least 16 years old and weigh 110 pounds to donate. Permission slips and sign-ups are taking place in the nurse's office. Parents, teachers, and community members are also invited. High school seniors, you will wear a special donor cord at graduation if you donate twice. A French soiree. At the Cassano Community Center on November 21st at 7 p.m., come enjoy French dishes and desserts. Mr. Williamson, the music teacher, and Madame Nezus invite all students. Game night. Video Game Club and Tabletop Games Club are hosting a game night on Friday, November 22nd from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the library. Bring your friends and come play your favorite video and tabletop games. Pizza and snacks will be available for purchase. Roselle Park High School is having a Thanksgiving food drive. There will be a non-perishable canned food drive to collect food for RPHS Student Pantry. You can drop donations off in the main office, nurse's office, and room 10. See Ms. Arango with any questions. Collections for this drive will run until November 26th. Let's make pets happy for the holidays. From now until November 26th, the SAS Club will be collecting pet supplies to be donated to an animal hospital. Please bring pet food, blankets, toys, or any other pet supplies to room 5. The RPHS Theater Department is pleased to announce that the 2020 RPHS Spring Musical will be the Disney's Little Mermaid. Auditions will be held on December 2nd and 4th at 5:30 p.m. Sign-up sheets and audition packets are located in the high school main office. All students that wish to audition must sign up, fill out an audition packet, and bring the packet to the audition. Please see Mr. Wachowski and Ms. Dombrowski or Ms. Arango with any questions, or email musical director Doug Panetta at dpanetta@rpsd.org. The government structure of Union County is now in place, and as always, local leaders are hoping for good things to come. Barvey has that report.
The official election results show that the freeholders, Chair Bita Jane Kowalski, Sergio Granados, and Rebecca Williams have been re-elected to the county's Board of Chosen Freeholders. They will serve 3 terms starting from 2020. The freeholder Chair Kowalski was the first elected in 2004 to the Freeholder Board and had also previously served in 2007. Granados, who is currently serving his 2nd term, was the youngest freeholder ever elected to the board on 2013. Williams was elected by an unanimous consent during a special election at Union County Democratic Committee Convention. She joined the Freeholder Board in 2018 after the former freeholder Linda Carter had left to the State Assembly. According to the Freeholder Vice Chair Alexander Mirabel, Kowalski, Granados, and Williams were re-elected because of the hard work that they do and the hard work and time commitment. The residents and the voters responded very well, as I thought they would, to their candidacy. He then concluded by saying that he is looking forward to work with them.
Stay tuned and we will be right back. Thank you for watching. Have a great day and stay tuned for CNN 10.
social and political issues in Iran are the focus of our first report. Thank you for doing it. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. When we produced this show, the internet had been shut down in Iran. The government of the Theocratic Republic is trying to put out the fire of nationwide protests that flared up last Friday. And taking the country offline could make it harder for protesters to organize their demonstrations. The Oracle computer software company says the blackout is the largest internet shutdown. Blame Iran's leaders, whom they criticize for being corrupt.
Violent protests in many parts of Iran. About a 5-hour drive south of Tehran in Isfahan, flames rage at a branch of the Saderat Bank. A similar picture in Khorramabad, near the border with Iraq, as Iranians faced with high unemployment and a crumbling economy take to the streets. In the capital Tehran, this social media video purports to show protesters screaming "Death to the dictator, death to Rouhani," Iran's president. The government claims it wants to combat fuel smuggling, and the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has backed the gas price hike while criticizing protesters. Some people would definitely get upset over this decision, he said, but damaging and setting fire to property is not something normal people would do. It's hooligans. On Sunday morning, workers at the main bazaar in Tehran went on strike, effectively shutting business down there. But the merchants have been suffering for months since the Trump administration has pulled out of the Iran nuclear agreement and hit Iran with wave after wave of crippling sanctions. Iran's government says it will remain steadfast and initiated what it calls a resistance economy, an effort to become more self-sustained. But while Iran's government says outside forces are fanning these new protests, many Iranians suffering under high unemployment have very little hopes that things could improve anytime soon. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Moscow.
In that report, Fred Pleitgen mentioned a nuclear agreement. That was made in 2015 between Iran and 6 other countries led by the U.S. under the Obama administration. In the deal, Iran said it would limit its nuclear program for 15 years, and the other nations said they'd lift their sanctions, their penalties on Iran's economy, which would allow billions of dollars to flow back into Iran. Supporters said this was the best way to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, at least temporarily. Critics said Iran got too much out of the deal and that it eventually built nukes anyway. As a U.S. presidential candidate, Donald Trump called the agreement a bad deal. And in 2017, as president, he pulled the U.S. out of the agreement, putting American sanctions back on Iran's economy and increasing pressure on Iran to make changes. In the years since, Iran has also moved away from the nuclear agreement, and the United Nations says Iran has resumed enriching uranium.
A brilliance of 500 suns lights hundreds of miles of the
To unleash this, you start with this, raw uranium. Fresh out of the ground, it's not useful for much. It needs enriching. To do that, you need these centrifuges, thousands of them. They spin uranium around at super fast speeds, about 1,000 times a second, shaking out the stuff you don't want and leaving the powerful stuff you do.
For the next 15 years, no uranium will be enriched beyond 3.67%.
Iran, though, has gone beyond that, reaching levels as high as 20% in the past. And that's important, because while there are still technical challenges to going even higher, Once you hit 20, you're well on the way to weapons-grade enrichment. That's 90%. And that is what that little phrase, uranium enrichment, really means.
Ten-second trivia. What distinction is held by fairy flies? Are they indigenous to Antarctica, the smallest insects, a type of butterfly, or extinct? Fairy flies are a type of wasp, and they're the smallest insects on Earth. Even if you don't want to eat insects like we discussed last Friday, scientists say 3/4 of our crops depend on insect pollination. And a new report from the United Kingdom Wildlife Trusts says there have been massive decreases of certain insect populations in the UK. Between 1968 and 2007, the report says the number of large moths in Britain fell by 28%, and that many butterflies also disappeared. It suggests that declines like these are happening with different insects around the world, though there's so much that's unknown about certain regions that it's hard for researchers to say for sure. Still, the report says the main reason for insect decline is habitat loss, and it suggests that we can all help solve that by planting flowering trees around our communities, growing plants like lavender, which attract bees, avoiding pesticides, though that could lead to the loss of some crops, and mowing your lawn less often could attract more insects to it, though that could bug your neighbors if it gets out of hand. Up next, machines with microphones, remote searchers with sensors, computerized carriers with cameras. Put them all together and you have robots to the rescue. New technology is finding a new role in helping first responders save lives in the wake of disasters. Robots can speed up everything from rescue to recovery, and this is how one woman makes a living.
The most important thing to know, if you only know one thing, is that disaster robots make the disaster go away faster. Robots can go into these places to get to where there might have been survivors. If I can see what I need to see, I can make good decisions to keep the responders safe. My name is Robin Murphy. I'm a professor of computer science and engineering at Texas A&M, and I work with disaster robots. Disaster City is one of the emergency management complexes that Texas A&M has. It's designed to test and to train search and rescue teams on how to conduct search and rescue missions. We've supplied robots for 28 disasters: earthquakes, Hurricane Harvey. We assisted with the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear accident. When we go, we bring robots and people that we've tested and practiced with in our training exercises. One of the biggest challenges to doing work in rescue robotics is not the robotics, it's the everything else. You're going to a different world. It's really challenging to be at a disaster. There's a physiological and psychological impact of that. It really takes quite a toll. So you have to be really good at what you're doing. But my job is so incredibly fulfilling. It's about the science and the technology and the way it could be used for societal good. That's a big deal to me.
For 10 out of 10, 12 days, 14 hours, 59 minutes. That's how long it takes to fly a helicopter to all 48 contiguous U.S. states, assuming you're flying solo and setting the new Guinness World Record. Yosuke Chamalirat said he had 2 goals here besides the record: inspire more people to learn to fly helicopters — he says more pilots are needed — and to show America's beauty from the air. He encourages everyone to dream big and keep pushing. Because even if you've hit the skids, that's not a bad thing in a helicopter. You just find your place in the rotation, stabilize your sights, ignore any rotor distractions. In no time, you'll be ready to lift off like a Blade Runner on an elevating transmission that defies gravity. For CNN 10, I'm Carl Azus.